Your family decided to take a day trip. You live in a valley that has an average winter temperature of 4 degrees below zero. You drive to a viewpoint to have a look where the temperature is 40 degrees below zero. What is the change in temperature from the valley to the viewpoint? Identify and organize key information given in the problem. Okay, so it says here, what integer represents the 4 degrees below zero in this problem? That would be -4. Now, it's just asking for the integer, so you don't necessarily need to label this. So what integer represents the 40 degrees below zero in this problem? So once again, it's still 40. It's going to be 40 no matter what. It's just this one's negative because it's below zero. So that's kind of what we're looking at right there, is the below zero parts. Below takes us into the negatives, especially when you think about the up and down thermometers from back in the day. Next up, write an expression equation to find the solution, being sure to indicate the correct operations to be used. Then it says the algebraic expression or equation. All right, so because we want to find what is the change in temperature from the valley to the viewpoint. So from the valley to the viewpoint. So the valley, that was the -4 up here. Okay, so we say, well, we're going to start at the valley, and then we would end at the viewpoint there. So that's a -40 right there. Now it's an operation though that generally causes the problems here, because it wants the change in the temperature. So if I was looking for change in temperature, we would have to, that's a difference in temperature for me, so I'd be looking at subtraction on this one. Now, once again, whether you put parentheses on here or not really doesn't matter to me. I'll correct that here in the video. So I'm going to finish, and then we'll come back to the expression that I've shown right here, and then we'll fix it though. So technology. Yeah, we could say like -4, and then we know that minus a negative is the same as just adding a positive like this one. And again, the problem with this is that we've already shown the two integers that should be used for the two values that we have, -4 and -40. While this one shows the -4, it does not show the -40, so we actually do need this original expression. This one right here, we see it in the work, right? Because we got minus -40. Well, okay, we'll just change it to a +40, and that's fine. Now, here's where we find kind of the contradiction is what I was saying or showing before. This one we have more positives than negatives, and it's an addition problem, which we kind of want. We want this addition stuff. This just indicates that we kind of expect our answer to be a positive value. Well then, since they're opposite signs, then you would take the big number, 40, and then subtract the small one, 4. So then you could say, well, 10 minus 4 is 6, and then drop the 3. And then this would look like a 36 degrees positive. Now, if we go back to the problem, though, we started at 4 degrees below zero, and then we end at something that's lower than it. So just by kind of what we would look at in the Polya process, that fourth phase, looking back and checking our work, we should expect this to be a negative. Okay, so then we got to go back and say, well, what did we do wrong? We translated this directly. When we have subtraction problems, where you end is kind of where kind of the first value that we should show there. So it really should have been -40 minus -4, and we see what happens here. The math below doesn't change, but it does change the expression here. -40 ends up being added to +4. Now this process is the same, but now we see that we have more negatives than positives, so it makes the answer negative. And then you still take the big number minus the small number because they are opposite signs. Now the change in temperature, though, since this is a word problem, so we've corrected the mistake that I made originally. But now we'll label it degrees I'm okay with degrees. I think it was specific. No, it did not say specifically degrees Fahrenheit. If you put an F there for Fahrenheit. Now, on the other hand, just what we had seen before, right? So you could still keep that at positive 36 degrees. You just have to specify that you went downwards, right? So 36 degrees lower or down, I guess. And that would kind of take care of the negative. So you can see that it changed by 36 degrees, but then you're also specifying which direction it happened in. Because you started at -4, you've gone down to a bigger negative, -40. So yeah, I guess we kind of did check the answer. Did you answer the question? What is the change in temperature from the valley to the viewpoint? I felt like we did. So I'm going to put a yes on that one. Explain how you know your answer makes sense or how you verified your answer. I guess we kind of went through that process. I mean, whether it's poly or not, we know we started at a higher, of course, there's lots of ways to say this, temperature, then we ended. You could say that you ended at a lower temperature than you started with. Doesn't really matter, it's the same thing. We know that, so the answer should be a negative.